The best news in this plan is we're saying that we're quite confident that with the assumptions we have as to weather windows and things of that nature, we in fact will have most of these beaches and these rocks cleaned by mid-September 1989.
I've just come back from a 10-day trip to Alaska, and I'd like to give you an up-to-the-minute view of what the activity going on up there. We continue to have a major buildup of both people and material. We still have over 100 Exxon people on the scene as planners, coordinators, and supervisors of the activity, and we're now up to about 1,300 contractor people working out in the field on the spill itself. We're employing some 250 vessels on the water. We have 46 skimmers picking up the oil on the water, and we're using about 25 aircraft. There's very little free oil left in Prince William Sound. I've been over the site twice in the last 10 days, and most of the free oil that's left in the Sound is trapped in some of these little bays and pockets. And the major activity that's underway today is to go in with the booms and skimmers and pick up that free oil from the surface. The expectation is the free oil will be removed from the Sound within the next couple weeks. The first priority was to get the remaining oil off the ship. That was accomplished several days ago. Another priority was to save those important fisheries. All of those fisheries have been well boomed and well protected the entire time as oil was flowing through Prince William Sound. And I can say today that we think that every one of those fisheries have been saved. We have moved some of our resources down to that area. We've moved both men and materials, booms and skimmers, down to the towns of Seward, Whittier, Kodiak, and Homer in order to protect those areas from any encroachment of the oil into their ports and fish hatcheries down there. The big job that's left is going to be the job of shoreline cleanup. We have estimates that some 300 miles of the shore around these islands have been impacted by the oil, and those 300 miles will have to be cleaned of oil. We already have over 200 contractor personnel working in this area in the shoreline cleanup activity, and that's going to grow to several thousand people over the next several weeks. We have a plan developed, specific plan of the areas to be covered, the areas to be cleaned. We have approved techniques by both the environmental groups and the Coast Guard, techniques to use on the various types of beaches and rocks, and that overall plan has now been approved by the Coast Guard, and we will begin the deployment of men and the implementation of that plan. The estimate is the work that's necessary to do that will take us through the entire summer, but the plan has a target date of completion of by September 1, when the bad winter weather starts to set in Prince William Sound.
Claims that recent increases in crude oil and petroleum prices are largely the result of the Valdez incident are incorrect. The Alaskan oil spill affected the supply of crude oil to the west coast of the United States for only a short period of time, and its effect on overall U.S. petroleum product prices was minimal in relation to other factors. The price of gasoline was increasing prior to the Valdez incident in response to raw material cost increases, seasonal effects, increased regulations, higher cost imports, and added state excise taxes. The largest single cost component of gasoline, crude oil, has been rising since mid-November of last year, largely due to OPEC actions. During this period, the price of crude has increased by $6 a barrel, or 15 cents a gallon. There was some increase in crude oil price at the time of the Valdez spill, but that was short-lived as prices returned to the pre-incident level within a week. The idea that Exxon raised gasoline prices to profit from the spill is completely unfounded. Gasoline prices are set by the interactions of thousands of individual sellers and buyers who operate in a very competitive market. The marketplace will not permit any unusual cost incurred by a particular supplier, like the cost necessary to clean up the oil spill in Alaska, to be recovered in the marketplace. So in summary, Senator, Mr. Chairman, the price of gasoline was increasing prior to the Valdez spill in response to a number of factors, and when viewed in the context of all these, the disruptions resulting from the Exxon-Valdez incident were minimal for most of the country. Mr. Chairman, on the West Coast, we moved immediately to do two things. We did acquire additional supplies of foreign crude to move on to the West Coast, about 700,000 barrels of crude. By Monday, after the incident on Good Friday, we had already chartered 2 additional tankers to move 500,000 barrels of gasoline from Exxon's refineries in the Gulf Coast to California. So we have responded very quickly and very responsively to bring added supplies into California.
And with respect to Senator Lautenberg's comments about the Exxon image, if you will, all we can do at this point is what we are doing, and that's deal with the consequences responsibly and to the best of our ability, both in terms of the immediate cleanup as well as trying to assess and address the longer-term ecological as well as the human impacts of it. And that's what we're doing.
And I know the company is very concerned about its reputation. All companies are worried about their reputation. All senators are worried about their reputation. But I must tell you, I get the feeling that if there's a little more of accepting responsibility, not so much by words, but by deeds.
Senator, I would hope that the deeds that we've performed over the 3.5, 4 weeks since this happened speak very eloquently to the point you're making. And let me tell you, in terms of personal distress, myself, I'm sure I speak for the president of our shipping company, and I'm certain I speak for some 20,000 other Exxon men and women in the U.S. company. No one could be more distressed. It's not a reputational thing. It's a problem that we've caused through some mistakes. It should have never happened. We're responsible, and we're committed to doing what we can to set the matter right.